Okay, so we are going to be doing a nice little update on the Sherman tank that we're building. It's a Tamiya kit, and it is the M4A3E8 Sherman Easy 8 tank. And I tell you, this has been a real cool kit so far over here. And I have my kitty scratch pad that I got the idea from Mr. Mad Genius. So thank you very much, Joe. Um, I had been using the styrofoam round things, and after over time, the holes just the sticks start falling out of the holes, and nobody wants to fall out. Uh, so we keep going on with the tank here. We have everything either glued together. We have our upper and lower hull put together, and that goes together really nicely. And I was watching Gavin Booth talk about the Tamiya kit that he had just finished. He did a beautiful job on his Sherman tank. It was an older issue Tamiya kit, so he had a lot of openings he had to go back and fill along underneath here and such. This more modern kit, this is a 2015 issue kit, and this has everything is nicely plugged, and it's really cool. Oh, also down inside there, we were talking about that bulkhead engine mount and stuff. A lot of guys mentioned that in the past you could get a Tamiya kit that you could actually put radio control workings in and run them. David Chin was talking about that. But my buddy Kurt over at KH Model Works said that there are actually aftermarket engine kits in engine bays and stuff that you can put in here, and that's part of the engine mounting for the model kit. And I thought that was really cool. It makes a lot of sense, especially since this whole hatch area here is removable, or was removable until I glued it in place. But the hull is all together. We have all the little supports on the little fenders looking good. Let's see here, background here. We have the jerry can holder in place. That looks really good. And then our deflector, that's looking pretty sweet, and it's footloose and fancy free, so it's movable and stuff. And then we have some bits and bobs up on the front here. I apologize, the camera's not cooperating. For some reason, my phone did an update yesterday, and then decided to change all of its settings. And also, we just tried to do a Zoom thing with a couple of friends, and turns out the camera function on my laptop died. Also, the microphone system didn't want to work either. So it's been an awesome tech day. Anyway, I digress. Here's our Mr. Man. We only got half a guy. And I apologize for being blurry, because for some reason it just does not want to. Oh, we just figured it out. Okay, cool. So he's hollering into his microphone. He's ordering a pizza. And we got a little bit more sanding to do on the back of his helmet. It's a little bit of a lug there. But this guy kind of built up really cool. I think there's, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces just to make this guy right here. And he's going to be, he can live in the cupola there in the tank commander area. That looks pretty good. He's keeping his head low. I guess you're moving really fast on the freeway, so he needs to keep his head low. And I'm thinking about painting him up. We'll see how well he comes out. I've never done a figure, really, so to speak, even half of a figure. But we've got the cupola. It's still not glued on yet, because we have to install the little transparent pieces from the inside. And we're not 100% sure if Mr. Man's going to look good, so we're keeping this option open, whether or not we're going to have the hatch open or closed. So keeping all that handy. And then it's a little hard to see on this mat here, but we got our 50 cal, our ammo can, our machine gun mount. We got all that there. And then here's all the entrenching tools and tank repair tools, and then all the bogies and road wheels, extra pieces of track that are attached to the hull, our main gun, and then our suspension system for the road wheels, and then other various stuff here and there. And this is all ready to go into primer, so we can start laying down the paint. And that brings us to problem number 2. I haven't gotten any paint. I have a couple of rattle cans of olive drab, but I don't want to rattle can this thing. I mean, we're gonna rattle can prime it, but I don't want. I'm going to airbrush this guy, so we're probably going to do in Andy's technique. We'll probably do the whole thing in either NATO black, and then come back and do some white, and then airbrush over the top of that. The tank color we want to use, and we're really thinking about using. I think it's XF64 is what the callouts are using. I want to give that a try and see how that looks, and that'll be a nice base coat for whatever weathering we plan to attack this with. So that's where we're at right now, and we're gonna probably not gonna dump this stuff in the washing bin. Probably gonna go over it with alcohol swabs and just clean up some of the fingerprints and stuff off of there wherever we can see them, and then probably go from there rather than soaking everything, washing, because that process works great for model cars because the parts are a lot larger. There's a lot less smaller parts and stuff because you can do larger sub-assemblies and all that jazz. But with this accoutrement here, we're looking at washing the stuff down the drain by accident. So we're just going to skip all that headache and move right into doing an alcohol swab, and then moving on from there. All right, so it's been a couple days since our last update with the Sherman tank, the Tamiya Sherman tank. We had stuff going on, stuff like that, weekend stuff, and we had a chance yesterday to put everything in primer, and here is the forest of the primed, and these scratch pads for kitties, they are awesome. I don't care for the catnip that comes with it, though. I think I'm allergic to that. But we got a chance to do all the priming on everything, so we are good to go. And what's going to happen now is we're going to base everything in NATO black, and then we'll come back and start putting color on top of that, so we can build up, you know, the whole thing where you build up the colors a little bit richer, a little bit darker, that kind of a thing. Helps with the shadows and stuff. I love the fact that all of our tools and such are actually molded separately from the vehicle. That is such a neat thing that Tamiya does. Are we in the wrong setting? Yeah, we're in the wrong setting. So there we go. All of our tools and stuff. They're all molded separately. So we're getting ready to take care of all that. We'll do a little bit of detail painting on that stuff. But our two halves of our hull are all put together. So we're ready to go. All set up and ready to go. So there's that. We're going to also sneak in here the Stuart little tank, as my buddy Vince was calling it, and so we're going to show you that here in just a second. All right, so Stuart little tank, lot less parts than the Sherman, same scale size, a lot less parts. But let's see here. Let's get to the right setting. There we go. New settings on the camera phone. So the hull, we've got the upper and lower hulls put together. We have our fender skirts on there, and we did do a little bit of decoration with some rivet heads that we have, a little bit of styrene strips to look like bracing. I'm a little on the fence about actually adding rivet detail all the way along here, because the photographs that I've seen, and thank you guys so much for sharing information about this guy here. I appreciate that greatly. It looked more like it was screwed on rather than riveted on, and they were so small I couldn't see them in the photographs, so I'm going with that. But we do have some rivet detail added to the front fenders here on both sides. And yeah, these I haven't painted these yet because I primed the whole thing and I realized, oh, I forgot to add those, so we put them on. And then this seam up here was really bad. I didn't really like how that looked, so even though I tried to fill it with some tulip and stuff, I didn't like how it looked. So we went back over and added some rivet detail that we had to sand off, and I think it looks okay. It's passable. It's not going to be something that people are going to look at that and go, you know, that looks good. It's going to be more of a, yeah, that's passable type of thing. On camera, it doesn't look so bad. But yeah, we had to redo the rivets all through there. And I'll show you in a second here what we used for our rivets. But let's see, we got some added back on here too. And this seam right here, I'm not happy with. I'm going to work on that a little bit more before we go into color for this guy. But a good friend, Paul, over at Paul's Messy Bench had pointed out that this is supposed to have been remaining open because that's the air intake for the radial engine that should have been in here. And I was like, well, I think I just gave my engine asthma. I went digging through some boxes of stuff and everything and found this really nice fine mesh that we can't even see. There we go. Some nice fine mesh there. So tinkering with the idea of just cutting out a space in that piece that's there and possibly gluing that in. That's not 100% for sure. We want to get on with this and get her done. So, I mean, that's one of those things that I was like, I would pay attention to on the next round. But for right now, we're pretty much ready for color, except for the rivets on this guy. And speaking of rivets, I happened to discover at a local hobby shop that the company Meng, M-E-N-G, they have rivet detail. This is a piece of plastic that's been molded with rivet detail heads on it. And we see here we have 0.8, a couple of 0.8s, 1.0 millimeter, 1.0 millimeter, 1.4 millimeter. So we get larger and larger as we go down here. And these are designed to be cut apart, so you don't have to have this whole thing all the time. But we just slice these off with a nice sharp chisel. And the chisel that I like to use is this one here. This is the Wave HT. This is a 3 millimeter chisel. And this is how you protect it. I kind of like this. Take off this anodized aluminum ring or barrel. There we go. Now we're ready to go. That's the sharp end. That's the dangerous end. So that's that's a happy little dude there. So we can shave off one of these little button heads, no problem at all. And then we go about tweezers and glue and all that jazz. And what's really cool about this particular thing here is on the back side are bolt and nut heads. Right? I'm sorry we're not able to get in there better. How's that light going? I've got the Mad Genius lighting going on over here. There we go. Yep, there we go. Some really nice looking threaded bolt and nut type of thing going on there. So that's pretty cool. Now this is a pain in the neck to use because this is the strip that I've been working from. And you'll notice that there's probably more rivets missing from here than there are actually on the tank hull itself. That's because there are rivets all over the place. I found some in my beard the other day. I felt it. I was slicing one off, and I felt a tickle on my beard, and I went and I checked, and I'm like, yep, that went in there. So I had to do a comb. But other than that, we're kind of going along here pretty good, taking our time. We don't have a solid deadline coming up on either one of these guys right now. So I don't remember what the deadline is for the Pearl Harbor build. If that's come or gone or it's on its way still, I'm not quite sure, but we're just having some fun before we start the month of February and do our small scale group build, which we are just floored by because there are so many people that are reaching out to both me and Sean and saying they're going to be in. Folks that don't even have channels are wanting to participate, and I think that's really amazing too. So thank you all for doing that, and thanks for contacting us and letting us know that you want to be in and stuff. And the folks that are participating but don't have channels, they've agreed to, when they get done, send photographs, and then we'll add those to our videos. So I think that's really cool. All right, so we're gonna close this down for right now. Go out and do some more painting, maybe a little bit more repair work on this guy here for that seam, and we'll talk to y'all later on. Bye, guys.